Napoleon did not lose because his enemies were stronger. He lost because success had made him certain. And certainty is the one thing that makes a sharp mind dangerous to itself. The certainty trap does not target failing men. It targets men who have been right enough times that they have stopped distinguishing between confidence and infallibility. You do not need an empire to run this pattern. You need a track record. There is a specific moment when a man stops asking whether his judgment is right and starts assuming it. That moment does not feel like a failure. It feels like earned confidence. The track record justifies it. The results confirm it. And from that moment, the mechanism that made his judgment reliable begins to break down without him noticing. Think about the last decision you made that turned out to be wrong. Then ask yourself, when you made it, did you actually consider that you might be wrong? Or had the track record made that question unnecessary? Today on Ironframe, Napoleon and the three mechanisms that turn a sharp mind against itself at the peak, and the one diagnostic that tells you whether you are already running them. By 1811, Napoleon had built something that no man in modern history had built before. He controlled the majority of continental Europe. His military record was without comparison. Every significant judgment he had made over 15 years of war and governance had been vindicated. The track record was not a story he told himself. It was real. In June 1812, he launched the Russian campaign. 600,000 men, the largest army ever assembled. The plan: force a decisive battle early, destroy the Russian army, dictate terms before winter. His senior advisors told him not to go. Caulaincourt, who had served as ambassador to Russia, who knew the terrain and the Tsar personally, spent hours arguing against it. Napoleon heard him, then dismissed him. Everything Caulaincourt predicted happened. The Russian army refused the decisive battle. Moscow was abandoned and burned. The winter came. Of the 600,000 men who entered Russia, fewer than 100,000 returned. Napoleon's dominance of Europe did not survive it. He abdicated less than 2 years later. Caulaincourt had been right about everything. Napoleon had heard every word of it, and the certainty had made none of it receivable. This is not a story about Napoleon's arrogance. Napoleon was not arrogant in the conventional sense. He was certain, and certainty is not a character flaw. It is what happens to judgment when success removes the mechanism that kept it accurate. You do not have to lose an empire to be running this exact pattern right now. The certainty trap operates through three mechanisms. Napoleon ran all three. The first is the collapse of the feedback that kept him accurate. The second is the disappearance of the dissent that would have corrected him. The third is the acceleration of his certainty by every decision that confirmed it. These are not character flaws. They are structural consequences of sustained success, and they apply to every man who has been right enough times to stop wondering if he still is. Principle 1. The feedback collapse. On the way up, Napoleon failed. Not catastrophically, but regularly. Each failure corrected his model, updated his assumptions, kept his picture of what was possible accurate to the actual conditions. After Austerlitz, after Jena, the significant failures stopped. 7 years without a correction. By 1812, his model of what he could do had not been updated in 7 years. He was making decisions at 1805, confidence levels on a 1812 battlefield with 1805 information. The mechanism is this: failure is not just a setback. It is the most efficient feedback system available. It tells you where your model of reality diverges from actual reality. At the peak, failure becomes rare. And without failure as the corrective, your model drifts, slowly, invisibly. You are still deciding at the same confidence level. The model you are deciding from is no longer as accurate. Diagnostic. When did you last be significantly wrong about something you were certain of? If you cannot answer that within the last 6 months, your model has not been corrected in 6 months. And a model that has not been corrected in 6 months is a model that has drifted from reality in 6 months. Application. Actively seek one decision per month where you were wrong, not to punish yourself, to update the model. The man who cannot find a recent correction is not a man who is always right. He is a man whose feedback has collapsed. That is Principle 1. Principle 2. The descent disappearance. Napoleon's marshals were not cowards. In the early years, Davout, Lannes, Massena, they pushed back. They disagreed. They argued. But by 1812, something had changed. Not in them. In the cost structure around Napoleon. Disagreeing with him had become expensive. Agreeing with him was free. So the information that reached him was systematically filtered toward what he wanted to hear, not through conspiracy, through self-preservation. The mechanism is the cost structure. On the way up, the cost of telling you the truth is roughly equal to the cost of not telling you. Both parties are exposed to the same consequences. At the peak, the cost structure inverts. Telling you you are wrong costs the person telling you. Not telling you costs no one until the decision fails. So the people around you make the rational calculation. They stop telling you, and you interpret the silence as confirmation. Diagnostic. Who in your life tells you when you are wrong, not who you allow to in theory? Who has told you in the last 3 months? If you cannot name them, the cost structure around you has already inverted. Application. Identify one person whose judgment you trust, who is not financially or socially dependent on your approval. Make a standing agreement to hear their real assessment of your last significant decision, not their encouragement, their assessment. That is Principle 2. Principle 3. The certainty acceleration. Every time Napoleon's judgment was vindicated, Austerlitz, Jena, Wagram, the evidence for trusting his own judgment grew stronger, and the evidence was real. His judgment had been right, repeatedly, at scale, against conventional wisdom. But every correct decision also did something else. It made doubt slightly harder to access, and doubt, the specific willingness to consider that this time might be different, was the mechanism that had produced the original insight in the first place. By eliminating doubt, the certainty was eliminating its own source. The mechanism is the reinforcement loop. Every correct decision confirms the belief that your judgment is reliable. Enough correct decisions confirms the belief that your judgment is infallible. Those are not the same belief. The first is useful. The second removes the checking mechanism that made the first one true. Diagnostic. Think about your last significant decision. Did you genuinely consider the scenario where you were wrong? Not as a formality, not as a risk management exercise. Did you sit with the specific possibility that your judgment on this one might be off. If the answer is no, the certainty has removed the mechanism. Application. Before your next significant decision, write down the strongest case for why you are wrong. Not the weakest case, the strongest. If you cannot construct it, you are not ready to make the decision. A judgment that cannot survive its own strongest counter-argument is not a judgment. It is certainty operating without a check. That is principle 3. Seek the corrections your track record is hiding from you. Find the one person who will tell you what the others have stopped saying. Write the strongest case against your next significant decision before you make it. Napoleon had all 3 of these mechanisms available to him. He did not use them. You do not need to lose what he lost to learn what he learned. Napoleon did not lose because he lacked ability. He lost because the mechanisms that produced his ability had been dismantled by the success that ability created. The feedback had collapsed. The dissent had disappeared. The certainty had accelerated beyond the point where it could be checked. And by the time Moscow made the cost visible, there was nothing left to correct it with. You are not Napoleon. You do not have an empire to lose, but you have a position. And the same 3 mechanisms that dismantled his are operating in yours right now, at whatever scale you are working at. The feedback is collapsing quietly. The dissent is disappearing gradually. The certainty is accelerating imperceptibly. He had every tool available to stop it. He did not use them. You still have the choice he had before he made the decision he made. The question is whether you will use it differently than he did. Subscribe to Ironframe if you want to think at this level. Not because we will protect you from certainty, because we will make sure you can see it before it makes the decision for you.